Welcome to the F-Bound Podcast. I'm your host, Shannon Schroeder, Executive Function Coach. I help neurodivergent women learn tips and strategies to improve the life skills that will help them be successful. Why decision fatigue affects neurodivergent women more, and how to recharge. Have you ever felt completely drained after making what feels like endless decisions? That heavy mental fog where even choosing what to eat feels impossible. It's not just in your head. It's called decision fatigue, and it hits harder than you'd expect, especially if you're neurodivergent. Constantly sorting through choices, big and small, can leave your brain completely tapped out, affecting your focus, mood, and overall mental health. But there are ways to recover and protect your energy. You don't have to stay stuck in this cycle. Understanding decision fatigue. Decision fatigue happens when your brain becomes overworked from making too many decisions, whether big or small. If you've ever felt completely stuck after a long day of choices, you've witnessed it firsthand. The science behind decision making. Your brain is like a battery with limited energy reserves, and every decision you make drains a little of that power. Neuroscientists have found that choices require activation of specific areas like the prefrontal cortex, which handles tasks like weighing options, controlling impulses, and planning. The more you rely on this mental gear, the more fatigued it gets, just like overusing a muscle. And as we've talked about, the prefrontal cortex is where your executive function lives. So, if you already struggle with executive function and then you drain what little mental energy you have for it, you can understand where decision fatigue comes from. And it's not just the big, life-altering decisions that eat up your energy. Every single choice, even seemingly trivial ones like picking what to wear or what to have for dinner, adds to the load. Think about it. How exhausting is it to scroll endlessly through streaming services just to pick a movie? That's decision fatigue in action. Symptoms of decision fatigue. How can you tell if decision fatigue is hitting you hard? The symptoms tend to sneak up on you, but once you know what to look for, they're hard to miss. Here are some of the most common ones. Procrastination. If you find yourself putting off even the simplest decisions, like replying to a text. Overwhelm. Everything feels like too much and you'd rather check out than face another choice. Indecisiveness. Even small choices like tea or coffee leave you frozen in hesitation. Impulse decisions. Instead of carefully weighing options, you might jump at the easiest or flashiest choice just to get it over with. Irritability. When your brain is fried, your patience for others and even yourself can run thin. Mental fog. You can't think clearly and your focus is scattered at best. These symptoms can happen to anyone, but they tend to hit neurodivergent people even harder due to differences in how your brain processes information and regulates energy. Recognizing these signs in yourself is key. Once you see how decision fatigue shows up in your life, you can start managing it instead of letting it manage you. Why neurodivergent women face greater challenges. When it comes to decision fatigue, neurodivergent women often face a storm of unique barriers that others might not see. Beyond processing daily choices, they encounter cognitive and sensory hurdles that make decisions feel like a mountain instead of a molehill. Societal expectations only add to the weight. Cognitive overload and sensory sensitivities. Imagine trying to make decisions while you're in a room with a blaring TV, flickering lights, and a chaotic crowd. For neurodivergent women, this metaphor is close to reality. Cognitive overload often pairs with heightened sensory sensitivities, amplifying the exhaustion that comes with decision making. The brain is juggling too much too fast. Sensory sensitivities can mean that environments feel overwhelming. Bright lights, loud noises, or even the texture of clothing can take up mental bandwidth. This leaves less energy for analyzing choices or weighing pros and cons. Cognitive overload, on the other hand, happens when your brain has too much to process. Neurodivergent women often overanalyze situations considering every detail. While this might seem thorough, it's exhausting and makes decisions harder to finalize. Instead of just processing yes or no, you might be analyzing 5 layers of what-ifs, leaving you drained before you've even made a choice. Tools like sensory reduction techniques can sometimes help reduce the toll, giving your brain space to breathe. Societal expectations and decision pressure. Now, add the weight of societal expectations. Traditional roles often push women to be caretakers, perfectionists, or social butterflies, all of which pile on pressure. For neurodivergent women, these roles can feel more like walking a tightrope. Masking behaviors, the act of camouflaging your neurodivergent traits, can demand constant decision-making. Should you act the way others expect or embrace your authentic self? This debate is mentally taxing. Pressure to conform hits harder when your natural tendencies clash with societal standards. For instance, you're expected to maintain endless social niceties while juggling your own comfort and needs. This tension often forces you to make rapid-fire decisions about what's appropriate, leaving your emotional reserves depleted. These layers of external judgment can feel like you're performing a one-person show, constantly adjusting your every move to meet impossible standards. For some neurodivergent women, this even leads to burnout. When you recognize the components of cognitive overload and societal pressure, you can start to look for tools that work for you, whether that's setting boundaries, simplifying decisions, or advocating for sensory-friendly spaces. Strategies to combat decision fatigue. Decision fatigue can leave you feeling drained, unfocused, and unable to tackle even the simplest choices. The constant mental strain of deciding what to eat, where, or do can take a toll, especially if you're already balancing a packed schedule or managing neurodivergent traits. Simplifying choices. When you're faced with too many options, your brain works overtime to wade through possibilities. Simplifying decisions reduces that burden and keeps you sharper for more critical tasks. Here's how you can streamline your day-to-day choices. Create defaults. If meal planning feels overwhelming, rotate through a weekly menu. Eating Taco Tuesday every week might sound repetitive, but it's a lifesaver when your brain is fried. Limit options up front. Look for ways to pare down unnecessary choices. For instance, stick to a set wardrobe with interchangeable basics so picking out outfits becomes a no-brainer. Batch decisions. Dedicate time blocks for certain tasks. Plan your week in one sitting rather than deciding daily. This small change can lighten your mental load. Streamlining choices doesn't mean your life becomes dull or robotic. It means preserving your energy for decisions that truly matter. Establishing routines. Routines are the secret weapon many people overlook. They free up space in your mind for what really matters by making essential actions automatic. Morning routines. Start your day with a consistent plan, whether that's coffee first, a 10-minute stretch, or checking your calendar. This sets the tone without requiring endless mini decisions. Evening wind downs. Create a ritual that signals your brain it's time to rest. It could be as simple as a skincare routine or reading for 15 minutes before bed. Anchor new habits. Pair new routines with existing ones. For example, if you want to meditate, do it right after your cup of coffee so it becomes a natural extension. The less mental energy you spend on recurring tasks, the more bandwidth you'll have for unexpected challenges. Mindfulness and self-care techniques. Mindfulness is like hitting the refresh button for your brain. When decision fatigue sets in, practicing simple mindfulness exercises can help you restore clarity and calm. Here are a few to try. Breathing exercises. Take 2 to 3 minutes to focus on your breath. Inhale deeply for a count of 4, hold for 4, and exhale for 4. This activates your parasympathetic nervous system, helping your brain slow down. Body scans. Lie down or sit in a comfortable position and mentally scan your body from head to toe, noticing any tension. Letting go of physical stress can ease mental clutter too. Mindful breaks. Pause during your day to observe your surroundings. Pay attention to the colors, sounds, and textures around you. This pulls you out of autopilot mode and into present moment. Mindfulness doesn't have to be an elaborate process. Even small moments of intentional breathing or awareness can work wonders. Taking care of your mind isn't self-indulgent, it's self-preservation. By incorporating mindfulness and self-care into your routine, you're investing in a clearer, more focused you. Recovery from decision fatigue. Decision fatigue can leave you mentally drained, making even simple tasks seem overwhelming. The good news? Recovery isn't just possible, it's essential. Taking breaks and downtime. Sometimes the best way to handle decision fatigue is by stepping away entirely. Your brain isn't built to work nonstop. It needs regular breaks to reset and recharge. When you're always on, you're bound to hit a wall, and that's where downtime comes into play. Taking breaks doesn't mean you're lazy or unproductive. It's actually one of the smartest strategies you can adopt. A short break can calm your nervous system, shift your mental state, and give your brain the space to recover. Whether it's a 10-minute pause between work tasks or an afternoon off, breaks allow your mind to process and recover. Here are some tips for effective downtime. Step away from screens. Looking at your phone or computer won't give your brain the full rest it needs. Engage in something soothing. Try a walk, listen to music, or just sit quietly. Don't overthink it. Even a quick pause can make a difference. Research shows that taking breaks improves focus and boosts decision-making ability. Remember, sometimes doing nothing is doing everything your brain needs. Seeking support from others. Decision fatigue can make you feel isolated, but you don't have to navigate it alone. Reaching out for help can lighten your mental load and offer fresh perspectives. Start by identifying who can help. It could be friends, family, or even professionals. Discussing your options with someone else often brings clarity, especially when you're too overwhelmed to see the bigger picture. Whether it's bouncing ideas off a friend or consulting an expert, outside input can save you from spinning in circles. Recognizing decision fatigue is a crucial step toward taking back control of your mental energy. By understanding how it affects you, especially as a neurodivergent woman facing added cognitive and emotional challenges, you can begin to break the cycle. Simplifying your choices, building routines, and incorporating downtime are simple yet powerful ways to protect your focus and reclaim your clarity. These strategies aren't about doing more, but about doing what works best for you. How can you make small changes today to preserve your mental energy tomorrow? I hope you enjoyed this episode of the F-Bomb podcast. Thank you for listening. Remember to subscribe below and check out my show notes to learn more about my Facebook group, courses, and membership.